Fellow Malawians, the year 2020 has ended and a new year is upon us. I share in your hope that 2021 will bring better fortunes for all of us, both as individuals and as a nation. Even so, it would be a colossal mistake for us to assume that better fortunes will simply be a matter of fate, or that they will come without our efforts, as though we are helpless creatures without agency in this world. Admittedly, the year 2020 has left us all feeling vulnerable and exposed. This is in large part because of COVID-19 pandemic, which has not only killed 1.8 million people worldwide, including 188 people here at home, but has also decimated economies and shut down industries, causing many of you to lose jobs and income-generating activities. Just as devastating has been the incalculable loss of our opportunities, the suffocating restrictions of our freedoms, and the awkward distortion of our social interactions. And now that many parts of the world are already facing a second wave of the pandemic, as well as two new strains of the virus that are more potent than the first, our war against this plague is certain to continue in the new year. Winning that war and advancing our agenda of governance and economic transformation at the same time will not happen by itself. It must be made to happen by focused collective action from all of us. In fact, if the year 2020 has taught me anything, it is the fact that even in the middle of multiple crises, we as a nation can rise to the occasion and beat the odds if we choose to take a series of focused actions together. As you might recall, we faced a number of serious crises in 2020. And for each of those crises, we as a country found ourselves in four groups. The first group were those who responded to our national ills with helpless surrender, seeing themselves as victims who could not do anything to change their circumstances. This tragic mindset of helpless surrender continues to cripple our nation's development because it fuels many people's flawed belief that their life's challenges cannot be addressed without a handout from government or donors. But if we are going to have better fortunes in 2021, we must reject this attitude of sitting idle in helpless surrender. The second group among us are those whose response to our national problems was making unhelpful complaints. These are people eager to point fingers at everything that is broken in our society and declare to the world whose fault it is, without lifting a finger to be part of the solution. Again, this approach can easily become a toxic that poisons our ability to come out of our comfort zones and get into the arena of real problem solving. But if we are going to have better fortunes in 2021, it will be by remembering that to be Malawian is to be a problem solver, not a fault finder. The third group are those who responded to the problems we faced by isolated activism. This approach was often adopted by individuals and institutions work in isolation from others in solving collective problems. But when they hit a roadblock, they blame the very people they isolated themselves from. But this is not the Malawian way of solving problems. As a people, we've never believed that collective problems can be solved by isolated actions. We believe in working together to solve problems we share, even working together with people we disagree with. So, if we are going to have better fortunes in 2021, it will be by fully embracing the Thompson philosophy of working together, not the individualistic heroics of those who want to make a name for themselves as saviors or emancipators. So as 2020 leaves the stage and 2021 enters, I want to call on all of you to choose a fourth path, the path of always responding to the problems around us with focused, collective action. Firstly, I said that our response to national problems in 2021 must be focused because a country that treats every problem as an emergency and every issue as a priority cannot make progress. We must have our priority. It's about time. Fellow Malawians, response to national problems in 2021 must be characterized by action, not finger-pointing and blame games. I know that there are those in our midst whose entire profession and income depend on their persistence in pointing fingers and playing the blame game. But the task of nation building needs men and women of decisive action, not naysayers. We cannot build a new Malawi by demanding transparency and accountability from government when we ourselves as citizens are not committed to practice them. We need practitioners to fix this country, not theorists. So my appeal to all of you is to join me in making this approach of focused collective action our modus operandi in 2021. It is the only way we are going to make progress. In fact, this is how we have always made progress as a nation. Indeed, it is even how we made great progress in the difficult year of 2020. For example, in January, we were disturbed by attempts by foreign observers to influence the ongoing elections court case through the release of a report on the disputed 2019 elections. But through focused collective action, we put a stop to this assault on the independence of our judiciary. As if this was not enough, we got news that a prominent banker had reportedly attempted to pervert the course of justice by offering a bribe to the judges of the Constitutional Court. But through focused collective action, the integrity of the court was upheld, the suspect was arrested, and now the whole world is celebrating those judges as heroes and winners of the prestigious Chatham Prize. In February, we could have given in to despair when parts of the capital city were flooded by heavy rains, destroying lives and property. But through focused collective action, communities mourned together and helped each other recover. At the same time, we did not allow tragedy to dampen the victory we all won together at the Constitutional Court and Parliament that month, both of which determined that the organizers of the 2019 presidential elections were incompetent and that a fresh poll needed to be held within 150 days to elect a president with a clear majority. In March, we could have given up hope at the news of the pandemic approaching our borders on all sides and felt sorry for ourselves when Malawi was declared to be in a state of disaster because of it. But through focused collective action, we spread messages of prevention, mass-produced masks, and adopted new hand-washing protocols. We also could have thrown in the towel when the president fired the Army general without cause, or refused to sign into law the sensible electoral reform bills passed by Parliament the previous month. But through focused, collective action, we prepared for victory at the polls. We did this by launching the 9-party Tonse Alliance to end an era of political interests trumping national interests, as well as joining hands as citizens across Malawi to secure the vote without the help from outside observers. In April, we could have cowered in fear when the first cases of coronavirus were confirmed within our borders, or surrendered ourselves to repression when a draconian lockdown was ordered by the state without any economic safety nets for the poor. But through focused collective action, the lockdown was blocked by the courts, ensuring that public safety was balanced with personal liberty. That same month, we were disturbed by widespread reports of mercenaries going around the country, illegally collecting national IDs and registering minors for the polls in a bid to compromise the integrity of the voters' roll through the National Registration Bureau's database. But through focused collective action, we gathered the evidence, blew the whistle, which ground the scheme to a halt and kept the voter roll clean. In May, we felt discouraged by the continuing intransigence of the head of the Electoral Commission and the president's refusal to replace her. But through focused and collective action in the form of public pressure, over many months, she resigned and was replaced by an impartial and professional judge whose only quest was justice and the rule of law. In June, we were confronted by an illegal attempt to force the head of the judiciary into early retirement. But through focused collective action, this latest assault on Malawi's Constitution was answered with constitutional protests, and we were able to have a credible fresh presidential election legally, peacefully, safely, freely, ushering in a new administration under my care. When I look back over what my administration has accomplished in only 185 days, I'm even more persuaded that we will achieve plenty together in 2021 through focused collective action. Allow me to highlight a dozen. 1, we embarked on a project to clear the rubble of incompetent and corrupt officials from the public service. So far, dozens of principal secretaries and directors have been removed or redeployed, and the project will continue in 2021. We will not clear the rubble in a vindictive, illegal, or rushed manner that leads to systemic failures and predatory litigation, but in a methodical fashion that balances public demand with public interest. Number 2, we manage the prevention and treatment of COVID-19 in our population to minimize deaths and disruptions to the economy, which has involved multiple stakeholders, including the church. 3, we successfully launched the Affordable Inputs Program, AIP, that has already given 75% of our famine households access to 250-kilogram bags of fertilizer at 4,495 kwacha each, while addressing logistical hiccups that are normal in the rollout of our new program. As I speak, over 2.7 million farming households have already received a total of over 5 million bags. This is almost triple the number of farmers who have been helped with farm inputs in any year, and we are well on our way to reaching 100% of the targeted farmers. Additionally, we have secured 100,000 metric tons of maize in our reserves as prudence demands. 4, we fully funded the Anti-Corruption Bureau and made it fully independent to investigate and prosecute any cases of corruption it deems fit without political interference. 5, we removed income tax for everyone earning less than 100,000 kwacha per month, which has released 43 billion kwacha into the pockets of workers. And beginning this January, low-earning workers across Malawi will enjoy an increase in the minimum wage from 35,000 kwacha to 50,000 kwacha a month. 6, through a tight fiscal policy of managing public funds, we brought the inflation rate down from 11.5% a year ago to 7.3% as of last month. 7, we restructured the management of the loans program, increased its bail from 40 billion kwacha to 75 billion kwacha, and renamed it National Economic Empowerment Fund, NEF. 8, we signed a Memorandum of Understanding on Trade and Economic Cooperation with the government of South Africa, as well as secured Tanzania's commitment to give us easy access to the sea to enhance movement of goods from our people to new markets. 9, we commenced the construction of 10,000 houses for the staff of various security agencies across the country. Similarly, we took steps to accelerate the urbanization of the districts, beginning with the declaration of Karonga as a town council and Mangochi as a municipality, as a step towards turning these tourist locations into lake cities. Number 10, we operationalized the Access to Information Act to usher in an era of government transparency and accountability greater than any in the history of our country. 11, we completed the first phase of public sector reforms across the state machinery, culminating in the signing of performance contracts by ministers as the basis of their evaluation in the new year. 12, we secured serious investment interest from Saudi Arabia, United States, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, South Africa, and Russia for the development of our infrastructure, agriculture, manufacturing, energy, and health sectors. The number of jobs coming to Malawi in the new year through these investors is such an exciting prospect for our talented and energetic youth population. I could go on about what has been done so far, but the point is the same. Despite the difficulties of the year 2020, we have achieved so much through focused collective action. In this new year, I call on you to continue with me on that path. As I said during my inauguration, fixing this country will be a painful process, and it cannot be done without a significant measure of fortitude and sacrifice. It cannot be done if our concern is getting what we each think we deserve for what we each did to make Chakwera'S Chilima president and vice president. It cannot be done. If we keep thinking a change in the presidency signals an invitation for a new set of rebels to have their turn to eat and plunder, fixing this country requires focused, collective action motivated by love of country, not personal reward. We did that in 2020, and as a result, The Economist has named Malawi its country of the year. But with focused collective action, executing our Agenda 2030 and moving towards Agenda 2063 with discipline, Malawi will be the country of the decade. I wish every one of you a happy new year. May God bless you, and God bless Malawi. Ndikaona zimene boma lathu lachita masiku 185, ine ndili wolimba mtima kutsimikizika kuti tikhoza kuchita zambiri koposa mu 2021 tonse tikakhala ndi maganizo ofanana komanso nkugwira ntchito molimbika. Mwina ndingotchulapo zinthu 12 zokha. Choyamba, tidayamba ife kuchotsa nyasi ndi zoyipa zimene zinalipo powunika bwinobwino kuti amene atsogolera m'bomamu antchito tiwachotse kapena kuwasuntha. Pali pano ambiri asunthidwa ngakhalenso kuchotsedwa kumene, koma sikuti nkhaniyo idatha, ipitirira mchaka chimenechi cha 2021. Tichotsa ndithu zopingazi ndi zoyipazi, koma sikuti tichita zimenezi pofuna kuti tithane ndi wakuti kapena tichite mosatsata malamulo kapena tingothamanga kuchita zimenezo, zinthu zimene zimapangitsa kuti dziko lino lizingokhala lolephera chifukwa cha ndalama za nkhani zimene zimatayika mwina pa milanduso imene sikhala yabwino koma yongofunula ndalama. Ife tikuchita zinthu zimenezi potsatira dongosolo bwinobwino kuti zimene Amalawi onse afuna zikhale zothandizana ndi zosowa zawo. Chachiwiri, tayesa kuti matenda a koronawo asapitirire kwambiri pothandiza iwo amene adwala, komanso nkuyesetsa kuti zisawononge kwambiri ntchito ya zachuma ya dziko lathu chifukwa zakhudza anthu ankhaninkhani. Ndipo tikuchita zimenezi mogwirizana ngakhalenso ampingo omwe. Chachitatu, ife tidayamba pologalamu yakuti alimi agule fetereza otchipa mtengo, programu ya AIP. Programu imeneyi pali pano yafika danga lokwana 75 pa 100, kuonetsa kuti alimi atha kupeza matumba awiri pa fetereza pa mtengo wa 4,495 thumba limodzi. Koma nthawi yomweyonso tili kuyesetsa kukonza zonse zimene zimatsamwitsa kuti pologalamu imeneyi isayende mwamsanga, monga pologalamu yatsopano iliyonse imakumana ndi zopinga. Mmene ulankhuliramo, alimi oposa 2.7 million alandira kale ndipo apeza matumba amenewa, kutanthauza kuti matumba oposa 5 million agulidwa. Nambala imene ndikukambayi ya alimi ndi nambala imene ili pafupifupi times 3 alimi onse amene amathandizidwa kumbuyoku mchaka china chilichonsecho. Sizinaonekepo zotere. Tili nchikhulupiriro kuti masiku atsalawa tikwanitsa kufikira aliyense. Powonjezera apa, tidapezanso chimanga chokwana 100 metric tons kuti njala ikuvutayi aliyense apeze thandizo nthawi ya mdima ngati iyi. Chachinayi, tidapereka ndalama zokwanira ku bungwe lija lothana ndi ziphuphu Katangale kuti lizigwira ntchito momasuka komanso palokha osachita kukakamizidwa zochita. Pa Tanzania tidagwirizana nalo mpaka tidatsimikizira kuti atipatse ife mwayi ogwiritsa ntchito nyanja yayikulu kuti katundu wathu wopita kunja ndi katundu wobwera kuno ku Malawi aziyenda mosavuta. Tinayambanso kumanga nyumba 10,000 za iwo amene ali mabungwe woona za chitetezo mdziko muno. Komanso taonetsetsa kuti maboma angapo mwachitsanzo Karonga, khale town, Mangochi, khale municipality, ni cholinga chonena kuti maboma amene ali mphepete mwa nyanja zathu khale mizinda yabwino. Chakhumi, lamulo lija lakuti anthu akhoza kupeza zimene akufuna kuti adziwe za boma, Access to Information Act, tidaliyendetsa kuti liyambe kugwira ntchito monga lidakhazikitsidwira, ndipo ichi nkuyamba kuti mbiri ya dziko lathu anthu akhoza kukhala omasuka kumapeza zinthu. Number 11, tidamaliza gawo loyamba lakuti pakhale chikonzedwe m'magwiridwe a ntchito, ndipo mmene timamaliza zimenezo nduna zidasayina zonse zoyenerera kuti ayesedwe nazo pa nthawi inoyi kuti kodi akugwiradi ntchito yawo kapena ayi. Number 12, tagwirizana ndi anthu amene waonetsa chidwi tsopano chenicheni kuchokera ku Saudi Arabia, ku dziko la America, ku United Arab Emirates, ngakhalenso ku Mangalande, United Kingdom, South Africa kumene ngakhale ku Russia, kuti atithandize pa ntchito yachitukuko mdziko mwathu muno pokhudzana ndi misewu ndi zina, pokhudzananso ndi zaulimi, pokhudzana ndi mafakitare, pokhudzananso ndi kuti tikhale ndi magetsi odalirika, komanso ngakhale pa ntchito ya zaumoyo. Izizi nzakuti zikangoyambika ndiye kuti achinyamata wathu amene ali ndi lutha komanso kuthekera koposa apeza mwayi wa zintchito zosiyanasiyana. Nikhoza kunena zambirimbiri, ndangodutsamo chabe kuti nditsimikize pa zimenezi, koma fundo yake ni imodzi. Angakhale takhala ndi mavuto mu 2020, zidatheka kuti zimenezi tibzolemo, tipambane, chifukwa timagwirizana pa zochitika. Mchaka chatsopanochi ndikumemani nonse kuti tonse tikhale oyenda pa njira imodzi. Monga ndanena nthawi imene ine ntalumbiritsidwa, nthawi yakuti tsopano tiyamba kugwira ntchito, ndanena kuti tikonze dziko lino zikhala zowawa, sizingachitike mkanthawi kakuti sipapezeka kudzipereka sembe kapena kudzimana komanso kulimba mtima ndi kugwira ntchito molimbika. Sizingatheke izi maganizo athu akamakhala wonena kuti ayi popeza ine ndachitapo zakuti pothandizira kuti Chakwera ndi Chilima akhale president ni vice president wa dziko lino, ndine woyenera ndikhale nkakuti. Chifukwa sizingatheke ndi mtima woganiza kuti upresident umene walowawo tsopano ndi mwayi wathu wakuti nafenso tikhoza kuyambanso nyasi zathu nkumanena kuti ayi nthawi yathu yakwana yakuti tidye nawo komanso tilemererepo pamenepo. Kukonza dziko lino zifunika kuti tonse tiyang'ane chitsogolo, tikhale ogwirizana m'machitidwe athu, koma titsogozedwe ndi chikondi chokonda dziko lathu, osati kuti ineyo ndingapezepo chiyani chondipindulira ine pandekha. Tidachita zimenezi mu 2020, ndipo nchifukwa chake va economist adanena poona maiko onse wa dziko lapansi kuti dziko la Malawi ndiye lakhala namba 1 mu chaka cha 2020. Ndipo ngati ife tikhala ogwirizana komanso nkukhala ndi masomphenya womachitira zinthu limodzi, kukwaniritsa masomphenya a 2030 komanso nkumayenda chitsogolo kufuna masomphenya a 2063 molimba mtima ndi kugwira ntchito molimbika, Malawi sidzangokhala dziko la chaka koma dziko la zaka 10, chifukwa lidzakhala dziko limene lapita patsogolo koposa. Ndikufunirani mafuno abwino mchaka chatsopano. Mulungu akudalitseni aliyense wa inu. Mulungu adalitse Malawi.